Yeah, man, this sun beaming. Look at the sun beaming. Sun is beaming on my leg. I know I'll be goofy sometimes, you know. It's okay to be goofy in life. But anyways, let's chop up some game. Car driving. Man, these people over here be driving crazy. But anyways, what's going on, y'all? There go another one. All right. So I got to thinking. You know, I'm always thinking. It's something I do. Your first 12 years of your life made you who you are today. And you're just an expansion, you're an expanded version of your 12-year-old self. Everything you learned from when you were 12, you're just an expanded version of a 12-year-old you. You could be 30, you could be 40, hell, you could be 80 years old. Whatever you learned in the first 12 years, and that's including the 9 months in your mom's stomach, you're an expansion of all of that. That's the environment you grew up in. That's the music that mommy and daddy was listening to. That's the people that was babysitting you, grandma and grandpa, uncle, all them. You're just a whole bunch of their little idiosyncrasies and triggers and behaviors all in one body to make you, especially when you turn 12 years old. And a lot of y'all got 12-year-olds out there. Check your 12-year-old out. Check them out. Look at their problems that they have. You know their strengths and weaknesses. You know the strengths and weaknesses of your kids. You know this. So check out their strengths and weaknesses. Whatever it is now is just gonna expand from there, unless they do something about it. And for the most part, nobody does anything about it because nobody likes to think. Now they'll add on to it, but the ruling state of mind will still be the same. And that's how we are. That's how a lot of us are until you start thinking. I took this journey about a year ago. I started nitpicking myself at first. I was like, why do I do this? Why I got this? Why I got that? And the more I start asking these questions, the more it became obvious where the answers came from. Oh, you learned this from your mom. Oh, you learned this from your grandpa. You learned this. You know, I'm like, oh, I learned this. And I got to thinking, like, I ain't got to keep this. And that's when I started saying, you know what? I want to build me. I want to build a Curtis Hill that I want to see, not a Curtis Hill that, somebody else knows. So I built me. I lost a whole bunch of weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm building up my body now. I'm trying to do my bodybuilding thing. That's coming pretty well. I'm getting my finances together. I'm getting rid of any little idiosyncrasy that I learned from over the years because everything's learned. It's a behavior. Behavior is not a part of you. You know why? Because pretty much everything that you go through in life is an illusion anyway. You could turn around tomorrow and do the complete total opposite of what you're doing right now. So that leads me to believe that it's an illusion that you're living in. If you didn't have emotions, none of this stuff would affect you. So that's why I said you're just a 12-year-old version of yourself. Now, when you were 12 years old, you had, all the whippings that you had. There's a lot of unconscious things that was going on in your mind at 12 years old. And a lot of y'all still going through it because, see, I've been around a lot of people that, my cousins and sisters and other people, and I pretty much remember how you were at 12. You're just an expanded version of your 12-year-old. Like I said, some of y'all still cry like a baby, but you was crying like a baby at 12. Now you're just crying like an adult. Some of y'all still got your baby behaviors on y'all. But you know what? A lot of that got to do with y'all parenting. Some of y'all had some gruesome parenting, and I see it. And I ain't saying that every parent is, perfect. And we make our mistakes and stuff, but the unconscious stuff that happened. You got a lot of unconscious behavior. What I mean by unconscious behavior is, let's just say, because I could dig deep down. You can remember what happened to you at 3 years old if you really dig deep. So let's just say mommy whooped you over something you fully remember that you didn't understand. Because I mean, at the end of the day, your kids don't understand fully how you understand. So for you whooping them for something that they really fully don't understand, it don't sit well with me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you need to master communication, master patience, especially with your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want your kids picking up your idiosyncrasies. So, like I was saying, like you remember your unconscious behaviors if you really dig deep and you like, damn, mommy did this at when I was 3, mommy did this at 5, and some of these things that they did to y'all to this day, y'all resent them for. Y'all got some resentment, some inner unconscious resentment to your parents, but you don't know how to channel it and assess it and get rid of it. So what you end up doing is you take that unconscious behavior that you learned from bad parenting from your parents, and now you've got kids and you doing the same thing to your kids now. Now you unconsciously doing the same problem. I said a lot of parents they don't communicate with their children. They go straight to whoopings. What are you teaching your kid when you go straight to a whooping? You got to remember this kid doesn't fully understand these concepts that you're trying to give them. Yeah, you might have told them 100 times not to touch the flower in the flower base, but at the end of the day, their brain ain't developed into a 20, 30, 40-year-old brain like yours. And I know a lot of people gonna be looking at me like, well, you gotta spare the rod or spoil the child or whatever. Look, hey, whatever perceptions you have on that is cool. Me, I feel like the best bet with children is master communication. Communicate with your children. You know what I'm saying? You got to communicate with your children. If you don't communicate with your children, who going to communicate with them? When they ask you, but why, mommy? And you say, because I said so. That is not communicating. Go ahead and explain to them. I used to ask that question, and I get the because I said so, or I'll get whooped. So now you got an unconscious behavior. Now you like, well, I ain't finna ask no questions because I associate pain with questions, and you wonder why your kids curl up in a ball and not communicate with you because your communication is trash. You parents, especially parents in my age bracket, y'all communication is garbage. You got to fix it. You need to fix it. I communicate with my kids. They love me. I communicate with them. Communication over and over and over and over again. And then if it doesn't work, okay, then if you see it fitting to give them a whooping, then do that. But y'all go straight to the whooping. You know why? Because half of y'all story is that's how my mama did me. See? That's how your mom did you. Once again, I keep saying, we ain't met you yet. You haven't met yourself yet. Why? Because you haven't mastered yourself. You ain't even got on the journey to master yourself. My question is, when are you going to make the decision to master yourself? You want extraordinary communication. Why? You got little kids running around that you created out of love or out of enjoyment. You out of love and enjoyment, you created these kids. And now you want to like take away a right of communication from them? I don't get it. Like, why did you do that? I don't know, mommy. What do you mean you don't know? You know better, right? Yeah. But why did you do it? I don't know. Whooping. There's a thing called paradigms. Paradigms are multitude of habits fixed in your subconscious mind, or logically, it's electrical currents that create patterns in your neurons. And these patterns are so precise that any other pattern that'll come in the way of those patterns will flare it up. It'll flare your central nervous system up. So basically, it's like being in a bubble. And when your kids start, if your kids don't understand conscious and subconscious mind, and if they don't understand about paradigms, they're gonna live a very mediocre life. Especially if the parents ain't got no good habits. Because that's what a paradigm is, a multitude of habits. So if the parent ain't got no good habits, both parents, what you think the kids gonna have? You think going to school was supposed to give them good habits? The word education comes from the Latin word educo, which means to draw, withdraw within. What are you drawing within if me putting a book in your hand? What am I drawing within you, giving you math that another person made up? What am I drawing within when I give you a social studies book about some stuff that nobody really knows existed or not? I don't know if them people exist. You made that math up. You made this science up. I don't know if all this stuff exists. Well, some of it do, but you're a kid. So really going to school to me is not education, because the education is to draw within. I'm not drawing nothing within giving you a premeditated book. School is teaching your kids how to be employees. The better the grades they are, the better the employee they're gonna be. The worse the grades are, the worse the employee they're gonna be. You wanna find out who's getting bad grades or mediocre grades in school? Look at the people that are working at your job. If they half ass in the job, they didn't get straight A's. The ones that was excelling in school, they went and got the nice top tier so-called jobs. You know, so school is teaching you to be an employee. That's all. That's all this is. Teaching you to be an employee. So you're not learning in school. You're it's not, to me, it's not learning. It's more like regurgitating information. Let me cram chapter 1 into your head, and then at the end of the week, let me see how much of this crammed up information that you remembered. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, some of you straight A students, y'all think y'all the bomb. That's tough. Because if I give you the same if I give you the same lessons that you had, and I give you no, I give you the same tests that you have, you're gonna why